when we came through the hallway, they had these beautiful chandeliers. I'm trying to remember everything. It's just so much to share. And with those chandeliers are these beautiful petticoat. We call them petticoat because of the ruffled glass at the base. With roses on the chandeliers above us in the hall. I believe there were two of them. As you walked in, you turned right. I think there was one when you first walked in, and then there was another in front of the staircase, and another further down before you turned to go to the check-in desk. And these chandelier, something else I very much admired and tried to find for our home, petticoat chandelier with the roses, and these were on all those chandeliers that we walked under on our way to check-in. Now, after you've had a nice meal or refreshment in the refreshment room, the hotel has this very nice veranda out in front, and you can go straight out from it, from the dining room doors, or you can go out of a door down to the side there from the refreshment room. So there's two entranceways that you can access the veranda. And there, it seems that a steward or stewardess are always waiting. They're at the ready to serve you, always seeing if there's something that you would like. And it's a wonderful place. In fact, later that evening, after we had a bit of a rest and we were checked in, we actually sat out there for a while and just enjoyed the fresh air. It was very, very nice. Oh, and on the veranda as well. Tommy and I love those ferns, and they were all about on the veranda there. And then actually past the railing, you had all these pretty bushes. I would say rather tall bushes, but everything was very inviting, and it was just so relaxing and comforting to sit out there and enjoy that air. Now, we never did make our way up to the gazebo that first evening. We were so tired, and we actually retired quite early after that long drive, and it was quite hard on Tommy trying to navigate, as I said, those roads. It was difficult, and once we finally made it, not to mention you had different roads changing from one road to the other. Once we finally made it to the hotel, we just thought of rest. So the next day, we had some time the next day to walk about the grounds, and we saw, to the back of the building, we saw some tennis courts. And these are set perfectly, so if you wish to play tennis, you also have the view of the loch on the sides all around you. If you play tennis, it's the perfect place and the best place you can ever wish to play tennis. And then, of course, in the back was another entranceway, just like the one in the front entryway, matching just another big stone entryway. And once again, all the windows all had those stone pediments above them, matching the doors. So we really had a wonderful time. I did, as we walked around the back of the hotel, I think I remember, there was a gentleman, a waiter, actually putting in, I guess he was cleaning, and then he was putting the screens back in the front windows, and he was kneeling on a board. I think he was too short to do the work, but he was kneeling on a board trying to put the screens back in the bay windows of the dining room in the front corner. And by the time he was done with the task, he was quite soiled on that white jacket. But working very hard, very hard. We had decided to see what was near the hotel and, of course, explore the area. And just past, if you go out the front pathway leading up to our hotel, and you go, it curves a bit, but then you go straight out, you'll keep going. I believe that is also called Euston Street, technically. And you would go past the main road that would lead into Greenore. That'll be to your left. So if you keep going, then a bit further ahead are the golf links. Yes, the golf links. And Tommy was happy to see these because of the Royal County Down Golf Club back home. And I want to tell you a bit about the golf links. They were provided by the railway and the hotel for guests. They were constructed in 1895 and opened in October of 1896 with 12 holes initially. And I'm trying to see, I believe the following year in 1897, the holes were extended to 18 holes. So it was wonderful just to enjoy the view, walk or drive about, and see these beautifully manicured golf links. For guests that did not wish to stay at the hotel, there's some buildings I'm going to tell you about. Hi, laddie. Are you walking about looking for everyone? Perhaps it's warm outside and perhaps you need to take a rest. Well, the guests that did not want to stay at a hotel had other accommodations available to them, which I will tell you about. But what I was happy to see was a small room. I believe 2 years after the golf links had opened, they had a small room for the ladies was added at one end of the golf club there. So the ladies are able to come and try their luck at golf as well. Now there are these quaint bungalows near the golf links, and those are perfect for guests that may be staying longer and prefer more private accommodations for a bit, and not too far off the golf area. And they themselves have a beautiful veranda there for each of the homes. If we had been staying longer, or perhaps another time, that we would consider staying at one of those bungalows. Now, I understand the Great Northern was in charge of running our hotel for Line on behalf of London and Northwestern Railway. So they took care of the things there at the hotel, and of course things with the golf course. So once again, trying to be truly accommodating and always taking care of everything for the railway. Making sure everything is perfect and ready for all the guests whenever they arrive. Now, in the areas of where our hotel is, but a bit away, a bit south of Greenore and Dundalk, is the town of Newgrange. Interesting to Tommy and I, as we were told that there are tombs, yes, tombs, built by Stone Age farmers nearly 1,000 years before. Stonehenge, or Egypt's first pyramids of Giza. Yes, this old. And I saw the pictures. One of the largest mounds in town is called the Tomb of Newgrange. There for over 5,000 years, I understand, and taking decades upon decades to build. So even some of, just like the Great Pyramids, some of the work, when it started, it took so long that at that time, lives were much shorter. So if these tombs, which are these mounds, there are several, they took a long bit of time, and if some of the workers passed away, then their family members actually the work would be passed to the family members, the men, to continue the work on the mounds. So I must tell you that Tommy and I found this very interesting. In fact, as you recall, we received a nice wedding gift of a book of the Great Pyramids, which we hope someday to visit in Egypt. So finding out that there was something so similar, the only difference is just, of course, the structure. It looks like the top looks like a large mound, and it's all stone. I saw the photographs. But it would be something we would be interested in having, walking about and see what this looks like. And again, much like the book we received, and we're learning about the pyramids of Egypt. So that took our fancy immediately. Now, south of Dundalk, there is the medieval village of Termonfeckin, still in County Louth. It's about 40 to 50 miles from Dublin towards our towards northeast coast, our east coast. There's plenty of old castle remains and a beautiful old church with great Gothic architecture. Teirmanfrecken has an old tower perched on the highest point of the village on a ledge, and on this ledge, at the very edge, the stones fall away down to the Irish Sea. Oh, and quite a breeze up there from what I'm told. On the highest edge, it falls sharply away towards the eastern shoreline of the Irish Sea. At the top of the castle, you can go atop and view the entire area. Now, the tower was built, they said the tower was built in the 15th or 16th century, dating to 1429 to 1439, right in there. It's said to have a lookout tower which has the stonework cut and shaped magnificently into a dome. So after we were there for a bit, and then we're realizing there's so many things to see. In fact, I remember one stone home. I don't remember the name of it, but it was beautiful, and I'd love to see it again on our way on that route down from Belfast. And then finding out that there's all these accommodations and that you can visit the golf links and stay there for a longer period of time. Although I will say, hey laddie, I will say that I don't know who would rather stay at the golf links and in those quaint cottages, or that possibly you'd want to stay at the hotel. I found the hotel, as I said, enchanting, very home-like, very comforting, and always comfortable. Everything is always comfortable because of the breeze coming out from the loch. And us being there in June going into July, it was actually the perfect time to go. Now, after a few days' rest, we took the steamer. We had planned to take the steamer from Greenore to Holyhead, in which we would leave our car in Greenore near the station. Now, Greenore, we did look about and see what would be the best route to take, and Greenore had a shorter distance to Holyhead than other ports. I heard I understand there are 3 ships available for the crossing. Hello, laddie. Are you my buddy boy? Yes, are you my buddy? Yes, you want to have the room. Why don't you have that? There's a bit of water over there. No? No. Well, the windows are open. I think I'm hearing a bit of a chirping from outside. Perhaps, maybe later, we wish to take a walk in the garden. Yeah, enjoy. Enjoy. Eat your biscuit. Enjoy. Well, there are the 3 vessels, and the 3 ships for the crossing. They're available are the Rostraver, the Connemara, and the Galtimore. Although the twin-screw Connemara being the most often used for the crossing, and which took approximately, I'm trying to recall, I think it was about 4 hours sailing time across the Irish Sea to Holyhead, Wales. Upon leaving from our hotel and leaving the loch on the way to Holyhead, and which we would also see again on our return trip after Switzerland on the way back, Tommy was quite taken with the heavy seas. Yes, right there at the mouth of the loch, heavy, tall seas, and their great swells there at the entrance of the loch. And he took photographs, and he also, they were selling it in one of the villages, photographs also of the swells, all that, and in the water, picturesque scenes there on the water. But the high seas truly were something to behold there at the entrance. And again, we saw this on our way home, coming back from our trip out to Switzerland. So at the London station, when we finally arrived in Holyhead, the Southeastern Railway connected us to Dover. I want to make sure, I had a few things here I wanted to show you before we continue with the railway. Now, I had received one of these before we had left for Honeymoon, but they had these cards all about in the entrance hall at the hotel, and I wanted to show you, and this picture of the hotel in Carlingford. It says Carlingford Louth, and London and Northwestern Greenore via Holyhead, and then it's right there, and on the back it gives you the London and Northwestern Railway information, direct route to East Coast, things through the East Coast trains, placing labels on empty wagons, what to do when ordering coal, and everything there on the back, all about the area, all about the railway, and all about the hotel. Very nice postcard. And I forgot to mention also while we were at the hotel that people had their own, they let them use the chairs, lawn chairs, beautiful deck, it was similar to deck chairs. And people were out about on their chairs and lawn chairs and at the hotel there. So people were not only using the veranda, but they were also using the front yard, which I will show a close-up of that later. Just outside, a lot of people were right on that front corner there, just outside of the dining rooms. And then there, of course, you can see the coins on the coin trim on the side of the building, and much like our home. So people were always about and enjoying. You must visit. It's the view is breathtaking, and it is so comforting having those breezes come through all the time. Now, once on the railway, they had we got on the vessel first, and we got to it brought us into I believe we got into Dover, as I had said. Now, when we got into Dover, the Southeastern Railway connected us in. The Southeastern Railway, and they would call it, the abbreviation for it is SER, S-E-R, operated a direct railway line between London and Dover, providing passengers with a route to and from the English Channel ports. Again, we did some research and looked before we took our honeymoon to see what the best ways were throughout the whole journey. The Southeastern Railway formed in 1836 and played a crucial role in developing the railway network to southeast England, including the main route from London to Dover. One of the things that Tommy and I loved seeing, the engines of the railway. They were in two colors, a coal black, but a green. And we love green. Of course, our car is, our Renault is green. And we love green being from Ireland, and it's such a pretty color. And so the railway engines were black and green. We settled into one of the refreshment cars, and there in the refreshment cars, I believe we were there resting. I think our trip was about an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours in all for the railway trip to Dover. So there they had these baskets, and they would have all sorts of refreshments all about in the railway cars. And they've had the refreshments in the basket, and then at the end they had for your serviceware, for your utensils, your napkins, and then the main offerings that they had in here, and they had cabinets, cooled cabinets for cold water and other drinks. So it was rather nice, and very nice way to relax and refresh yourself before the next part of the journey. Everything was very nice, very tasteful, and of course later, if you happen to be on these cars longer, they had a very tasteful dinner menu. And I wanted to share one of those with you. Now, I found both on the London and Northwestern as well as the Southeastern pretty much they're all connected about in some way or the other. And I had taken, actually I was allowed to take with me one of the menu cards, and that's here. And of course also on the back of the menu card, so you have information as to where you're traveling. They give you a map down the back of your menu card, so you can see where you came from, where you're going, and give you the towns and villages that you'll be visiting. So on this card for the luncheon, it had in the dining card, that would be not for the refreshment, fried filleted fish with this anchovy sauce, roast sirloin of beef, cooked ham and tongue, ox tongue, pressed beef, vegetables, a refreshing cold salad, romaine jelly, and pastries. Oh, of course, cheese, butter, biscuits, etc. Of course, it's like that. Everything you could want. Fresh water was my favorite. And a cup of tea or coffee. And once again, my favorite, the tea. So by the time we arrived in Dover, with a short stay at Greenore, you can see that you can easily understand how tired we were. But I'm happy to so far have you on the memories of our journey, of our special honeymoon, after we left Olmsted, Uncle Will's, and went to Greenore. So I think I'm going to say goodbye to you here, and soon we will continue the next part, and I will share with you the next part of our wonderful honeymoon with so many things to share. And one of them are some very different photographs taken by Tommy. There's a church there much like Lambic, and there's many other things there which I'll be sharing with you next time. So thank you, and I wish you all very well.